You guys all ready? Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. If everyone would stand for the pledge. Just, oh, okay. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
When you start a roll call, Penny Berry, Ella Brown, Darren Joseph,
Bradley Miller.
Amy Tooker. Oh, okay, do you have a quorum? Okay, we're gonna start by welcoming Paul Cora from Centerville Power. He's gonna give us an update this evening. Thank you, Paul.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the time and opportunity to give you a mid-year update. Got a lot of things going on at SMPA.
Okay.
I will be brief with everything, but I'm willing to elaborate on anything. So, as per usual, there's a lot to go through, so I'll do it quickly, but please, if there's questions, I'll gladly answer anything in depth. So, quick operational and just a kind of employee update. We've got a new lineman in Silverton. It's really awesome. That's a big search for us to place a lineman. Linemen are such a critical part of our business. They're such a part of the community and just a really important, obviously, aspect to what we do. We've got a really great placement there in Silverton. His father had actually been a lineman for us in the Silverton area, and then he went off and did work elsewhere and came back. So it's really cool. He's got a young family. We have a new CFO that's starting in September. And we're excited to bring him on board. And we have a new board member for District 3. Duane Yonder has replaced Dave Alexander, who had been our board member in that area for I think 14 years. So that just happened. And we welcome her. She seems to be an exciting contribution to our board of directors. So we're real happy to have her. Tom Losey is still your board of director representative for this area. And he always brings comments to bear at SMPA. Anything that's of interest to the community, you can communicate with Tom at any time. It's been a really busy season in terms of wildfire. Obviously, we've had several within our service territory or right next to our service territory. We haven't had actually infrastructure destroyed from wildfire, but we have from the landslides that have occurred in Uray recently. Quite a few transformers were taken out when Cutler Creek overflowed its banks and destroyed some homes and destroyed some of our infrastructure. Prior to that, the Gold Mountain fire, however, was a really impactful issue, obviously, for our community and our service area. We worked closely with first responders for first turning off power to areas where they were trying to reach and have access and make it safe, and then turning back power, turning it back on quickly for residents as quickly as we could. To prevent spoilage in refrigerators and freezers, because a lot of them had to leave like immediately. Just a shout out to our linemen who've been working a lot extra overtime. I know we even had an outage in Norwood this afternoon. As I think I mentioned prior, our system is set during this time of year, during heightened risk of wildfire, to a setting that's more sensitive. So you've probably noticed more outages, and those outages are longer. The linemen have to patrol an entire circuit that has a fault until we're able to re-energize it, just based on that protocol. That just ensures a higher level of observation to try to reduce wildfire risk. So we do have two technologies that we use that are AI based that help with early detection of wildfires. There's one called AI Dash that is actually a satellite based system, and it looks at our entire infrastructure, makes vegetation management recommendations based on high-level satellite imagery, as well as a product called Pano AI that uses high-definition cameras that scan our service territory for early signs of smoke detection on wildfire. So those have actually served us well. There was one about a month ago that went off and alerted us. Fire and first responders and the Forest Service had already been notified. So if they hadn't, it would have been really nice, but it was neat to see that product in action. So beneficial electrification continues to roll out. We continue to see just an influx of electric vehicles in our service territory. We're expanding our fleet. And we actually just installed a solar carport in our parking lot at SMPA. And that carport is large enough to actually charge our electric vehicles. So typically we have a Tesla, a Lightning, and a couple of hybrid vehicles, and we plug those in and top it off with the car chargers in the parking lot. So that was a grant funded project. It's kind of a demonstration. So if you ever buy and want to come check it out, please feel free to do so. We also are rolling out a program that includes, it's in conjunction with a program that Tri-State has offered, and that is a battery demand response program. So if a member wants to install a large scale battery and then discharge it during our peak times or during a call from Tri-State, they actually get a monetary compensation for doing that. That's above and beyond just energy savings. So it's a really new program. We're actually just in the pilot phase. We've got 4 members that are participating in that. 2 are large scale. One is the San Miguel County Sheriff's Office. The other is the Telluride School. Both have very large batteries that are designed to offset or to back up the entire load of those facilities. But they take a portion of that, feed it back into the grid during a 4 to 9 p.m. power call, and they get a monthly payment. We have a couple of members, just residential applications that are doing that as well, smaller scale, but still applies to members. So it's a really neat program. We are still rolling out incentives for heat pumps, for high efficiency water heaters, for lighting, and we have our rebates for those. But we also, just as a reminder, we have an on-bill repayment program for members that might be interested. And this is one of those years where it's been a lot warmer. A lot of folks in our whole service territory have never had air conditioning, and they typically rely on keeping windows open at night. This summer, it's been more difficult to do that. And then you have smoke on top of that makes it worse. So people are really interested, and we've seen a huge peak in participation in buying heat pumps that both heat and cool your home with minimal electricity. And then we can finance that essentially on the bill with a repayment program. So that's all that information is on our website. I've got several flyers back here for anybody that might be interested in that program. So we have a little, it's a giveaway. We're going to give away an electric bike for anyone. Well, it's for one person, but anyone that signs up for Totally Green over the next couple of months is in a drawing for an electric bicycle. It's a really nice bike. And Totally Green is a way to guarantee, if you're interested in doing so, that all the energy that you use is considered green energy. And so it's a renewable energy certificate that's purchased on behalf of the member that ensures the power attributes that are served to that member are green. And it's a premium cost. So it's usually about a $5 to $10 premium monthly cost on the electric bill for the average member. But we have about 600 participants in that program out of 15,000 members. And it actually helps us also do other projects in our service territory that aren't necessarily projects that we would want the entire membership to pay for. And so it's a way for us to help stimulate new renewable energy development within our service territory without making that a rate-based issue. So it's a great program. We've got information about that too. And e-bike is kind of a neat deal. So if you're ever thought about it, then now's the time to sign up. All right, that's a lot of the good news, fun stuff. Now we get into rates, what we anticipate. Everything obviously is getting more expensive. I was just told today that we were going to do a trenching project in Telluride, and we typically would get a quote back for 50 to 80,000, and it came back at $400,000. I know, and we're doing a lot of work with obviously new transformers. Transformer costs have quadrupled over the last 5 years, and lead times for those have gotten longer. Maintenance of our systems got more expensive. That's just on our costs. The same applies to Tri-State, our wholesale power provider. They're anticipating their costs going up 8 to 10% this year. They're 50% of the cost of our rates to you. So that's at least a 5% increase just from wholesale power costs. And then we're anticipating probably another 2 to 3% just from our operational costs as well. So probably a 7 to 8% increase in power costs next year. One thing we're really trying to do is look at every single area of business and make it And one of our, obviously our mission is a safe, cost-effective and reliable energy. Cost-effective is like number 2 on our mission statement, so just analyzing every single area of cost. And one high administrative cost that we've realized is paper bills. A lot of companies have gone away completely from paper bills. We've offered it up to this point. We're gonna continue to offer it, but it's gonna cost $2 to print a paper bill. If a member wants to continue to receive a paper bill, we're going to have the service, but there is gonna be a fee because it costs so much to do that. And probably 60% of our membership has already gone completely paperless. It's a fairly easy leap. We've also often found that when we talk about this and we make it known that it's available, people kind of jump at the opportunity anyway. So we know there will be some issues, but we're willing to work with members that may not have quick internet access or the ability to set that up. There's phone call in, there's text notifications, there's a lot of different ways to pay your bill. So we're willing to do anything we can to help mitigate the stress of doing that. So, yeah, that's my summary.
Wow, that was
That
short.
I did that pretty quick. I'm like, check and make sure I covered everything. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, so we, cranking along here. Yeah, we're mid-year and, yeah, that's where we're at right now.
You guys have any questions for Paul?
Where's the new CFO located?
Great question. I think he's gonna be co-located, Lance he lives in Telluride. He's probably gonna report to both offices.
Okay.
So it's neat that he lives in our service territory. That's kind of rare, actually. That we're able to actually hire somebody within the service territory. So, he has a very, neat background. He actually has worked for Telsky. Currently, he works for the town of Telluride, so I think we stole him. He has worked for a neighboring co-op, so he has co-op experience, which is excellent. That brings a lot of value to us. There's a lot of nuances with just taxation and reporting that co-ops have to deal with, that a lot of typical accountants don't necessarily bring just full knowledge, so he has some of that experience, which is great. I think he's gonna be able to hit the ground running with some of our programs, especially the on-bill repayment, because that's been a little bit of a trick to get working. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding your paperless billing, that's one of our biggest expenses too. So, and we're looking, are you still required to send out a link notice? Like physical mail, or can it go email as well? Do you know? Like your customer signs up for the e-statements, those paperless,
Yeah.
if they are behind and they need a delinquent notice.
Yeah.
Do you have to send those via mail, or can you fall back on their preferred?
It's a really great question. For a delinquency notice, there's a phone call that goes out, an email,
Okay,
and a text. And if they're receiving paper bills, then a paper notification goes out, but otherwise just those 3 mechanisms.
okay,
So we have to make sure that contact information is current for members for situations like that.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. All right.
So Norwood Solar Project on their pond.
Solar project on their water retention pond is still there. The School of Mines has developed that project. They haven't finished and presented the project in completion yet. We have a grant writer that has been searching for grant opportunities to do that. It's been kind of on hold since the students have been on summer vacation. We're anticipating the first meeting back in September to see where they're at with the proposal and to continue to pursue grant dollars. There are some issues with the sizing of the pond and just some things that we have to work through, ownership and land lease and some other things with the commission and the county. And then also county requirements for solar and different things, but it's still on track. It's not, since I last presented to you all, there's been no movement on it though. Yeah.
So are there physical issues associated with the pond, or basically, is there a wave issue or a?
There's not a wave issue. There's concern about freezing. There's a little bit of concern about that. And then with the fluctuation in the water pond itself, because it obviously when it goes down, it gets smaller. So they're trying to figure out a solution that would accommodate that. So there are some physical challenges, but that's what we have these bright engineering students to try and help us figure that out, so. And that's where a lot of the costs would have been, and that's what's unique about this project, is we have these students to kind of help us go through this first one. And they do a lot of the research and it's part of their project, so it's free cost to us to get a proposal at the end, that then we can go out and search for grant dollars. I think if there were a grant, and there are more grants, especially with water conservation in rural communities, so I think that there's a high likelihood that we would be able to get something, especially that it's solar, so renewable energy production and water conservation at the same time.
You know if there's been any concerns voiced by anybody about migratory birds?
Not migratory birds, but water contamination is probably the biggest concern.
Well,
With floating plastic modules, and there's some misinformation that solar panels leach toxic chemicals like lead or other things, but you know, that's just an education, I think, and outreach, kind of doing our hard work of trying to communicate positive, you know, deal with misinformation on that. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Thank you. I've got several.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Did you have, I've got several things back here about our time of use rates, about the Totally Green and our own bill repayment program. So there's some information back there. So,
Thanks,
all
Paul.
right, thank y'all very much.
Appreciate your
Any questions? Sure.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Rudy?
Hello, I'm Rudy Barbie, 880 Main Street, space number 9, PO Box 44. I just wanted to say thank you first for the town that's been working with me on getting Jackson Mobile Home Park cleaned up, and my property as well, on my lot. But I do have some concerns now that's been falling through. Did each of you get one of these packets? Okay, I'm gonna go through it real quick, just by the pages, okay. First of all, this is the property here in Nucla. And
Well, I guess.
we know page 1. It'll be page 1 and page 2.
There's three different types. They're numbered on the bottom
Yeah,
right.
their numbers on the very,
Okay, so which
Oh,
one
I
is
got
it?
you.
One.
yeah, they should be in order. I didn't,
Oh, I
Next
probably
month.
got them out of order because I handed them.
Well, 1 and 2 is stapled together and then 3.
right, and then 3 and
Yeah.
on through all the way to 17.
One?
There for one.
Good lord. Yeah, here, Brad, you do it. There's one.
I'll just scream out the numbers.
Well, yeah, well.
Yeah, we got it.
They pulled them all together.
Yeah, well, they work together, believe me.
He was struggling.
I was efficient on that.
Okay.
So you'll have 1 to 2 first. Okay, anyway, this is a property that's here in Nucla. We all know who it belongs to. And I did this because this is a high profile property. A while back, I remember, Kurt Yerke and other people on the board are supposed to adhere to the same standards. Okay, that's the first one. Go to pages. I want to do this quick, 3 through 6, please. This is the property over on Sean Lee. Belongs to the town surveyor. And I'm leading up to, at the end of my presentation, of why I'm doing this. Okay, that's another high profile property over in Sean Lee. You just look through the pages. You'll see the vehicles, you'll see the condition of the place, and so on. The first one, I believe I counted either 12 or 14 vehicles, depending. This was taken today, about 11:30 in the afternoon. Okay. Sorry. Pages falling. Now, if you go to pages 7, 8 through 9, please. This is on Grape Street. These are properties that have up to 7 vehicles on them. Okay, go through to the last page. You'll see there's more vehicles behind the person's home also. I just picked those because they were close. Now, if you go to page 10 through 11, That shows the lot where I live and what it currently looks like, which I've done huge improvements and I have a lot more to go. I'm putting a 7-foot fence around the whole property and then I'm putting a barrier around it. Somehow I was told it was required that nobody needs to be able to see into there. However, the other properties I've gone to all over Nucla, I have not heard that warning given to them. Okay, page 12, please. That is, first I need to explain, besides my lot, because I do maintenance for Jackson Mobile Home Park, they have allowed me 3 lots that I can use for storage, help keep their property on there. And I put signs up, say no trespassing on some of them, and I'm building other fences around. So on page 12 is a little white house. And the park manager gave me that house to use for a maintenance shop and to use for storage, and I'm gonna fence that all off over there.
Sorry, your time's up. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Anyway, but the reason I'm leading up to it is because I was told to remove this. I was told I had to remove my boat. I was told I had to remove my camper. I was told I had to remove my other boat. Last but not least, I was told I had to remove this camper also, which is my camper for going camping, like up the Buckeye or somewhere.
Thank you for
So,
bringing the photos.
That's what I have to
We
say.
appreciate you bringing the photos into our attention, Brittany, thank you.
Thank you.
John Reed?
John Reed, 445 West Sixth Avenue, speaking on behalf of VFW. Put in a grant to San Miguel Power and took off before I could thank him also, but they did grant it at $600. They received their part of it. And with possibility of a matching amount from Basin Electric. So through that grant, we'll be able to pay back the town for that GF or the 50 amp installation.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they talk to you about Basin Electric? Cause Basin Electric hasn't been matching for a while now, unless they have some new funding coming from that.
They mentioned Basin Electric possibly be matching.
Okay.
So that's all I can go is that's the possibility.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If it comes in, great. If it doesn't, well, we're,
Yeah, I just didn't want you to get your
Yeah,
hopes
correct.
up there if they.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Did the first year with them, but, also school year has started. So if you've got kids, we had one of our very own go all the way to state. Took 8th place in state for one of the scholarship, essays. So stress that, it's availability of the scholarship. For middle school, it's $5,000 top prize. And for high schoolers, it's $35,000 scholarship. And they get a free trip
That's
to
cool.
the capital
That's cool.
on that. It'd be great. And our teacher of the year, trying to get one on Norwood this year. But our own Deb Watoka went up for teacher of the year for high school and went up and just made it all the way to state.
Nice.
And stuff, and then state center to national, but she didn't place national, but she did go up for judging up to national level. So we're making progress here. Nucla did great last year. I'd like to keep it up. But yeah, if you got some kids, the flyers are pretty much all over. Some places I gotta put them back out, but stress it, get your kids to do it. It's an easy essay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda unless there's any items that need to be held out for further discussion. I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda. I'll second. The motion is second to approve the consent agenda. Amy? Yes. Brad?
Yes.
Darla? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Penny? Yes. I vote yes, motion carried. Is there any items that need to be added to the agenda or any changes by Ms. Jessica?
Yes, the review approval for the animal variance, we can strike.
Okay,
Um.
As in it didn't show up?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Can we keep that on as a discussion item? Animal code,
The animal code or that variance?
the animal code,
I think the code
or
enforcement
can we discuss that on, yeah, the end?
under the staff reports, is that
Okay.
what you're wanting?
Yeah, that's fine, okay, that's fine, I just want to discuss this more.
Anything else, guys?
It's sheriff's.
Okay. That underneath this, NWA, okay. Where is it? It's on the second page. Okay. Anything else? Let's move on then. Okay, new administrative and board business. The first item is to accept Jason Richardson's trustee seat, his letter of resignation. As of 9/3, is that right?
No.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I just didn't read on that. Yeah, effective immediately.
Oh, like 8/11. Yeah.
I guess I'll make that motion.
Okay. I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve the resignation of trustee Jason Richardson effective 8/11/26. Penny? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Darla?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Amy? Yes. I vote yes. And then the other note was there that, I think Jessica let you guys know that she's put out notice for letters of intent. Accept them until the 3rd, so.
Which is the Thursday, and then interviews can convene on the following Tuesday before the board meeting, and you guys can go back to that.
Right. All right. Review and approve Jesse Cooper and Ryan Love's new out-of-town tap application for 2900 road near the intersection of Ash and 2900. They building corrals for the winter paddle. Okay.
It would require a board. But it's just right there, the main line comes right down 2900 road. They own off to the side, just past Harry's. No,
Oh, okay.
so right in that area, there's a driveway, and so they are just wanting to put in a.
Right before the driveway, before.
So if you go past Ash, or, okay, so if you're coming down 2900 road past. Past their house, and then the next lot is where Cooper's on. That big field lot right there,
Yeah.
there's a small entrance, dirt road entrance, that's where they're wanting to get it right there. The main line comes down the opposite side of 2900 road, so it would have to be forward. But. They're okay with that.
They're aware of that.
And they're aware of any costs above what's included in the tap fee when it's made. So.
Make a motion to approve the tap request for the Cooper and Love.
I'll second.
The motion and a second to approve the tap request for Jesse Cooper and Ryan Love. Any further discussion?
Sounds like Jessica's already had it designed out on details, so,
Bradley?
Yes.
Darla?
Yes.
Tim?
yes.
Penny? Yes. Amy?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried. Review and approve the West End Family Link request for funding with the updated financials that we requested.
All that into the business folder drive, and I met with Jody, she's here tonight to answer questions. And we met twice this week. She brought updated information that I put into the folder as well regarding what they look like or where they're at. And I don't know if she has an updated for this one. They met this
Do
afternoon.
you have any update first before the board has questions, or how do you wanna, I mean, if you have.
Jessica and I had kind of discussed that if assistance to us was going to be a Band-Aid situation. We had several positive things happen today that made me more than yesterday when we talked. So I think that it is not a Band-Aid, like we have a lot of things in our favor that are happening, including possibly some large support from the county commissioners. So, and then when we did receive some grant funding also last night from the town of Natarita. So there's a lot of those little things, and then all of our normal grants are opening up. Like right now is the window, they usually accept applications through October. I just feel like right now is our little time crunch of how do we get through kind of thing. And we had a board meeting today. We're doing some remediation to stay operational with that in mind. And then I think we'll be fine. Maybe more than fine.
It's never really committed anything.
She said they did last night.
Yeah, we did last night.
How much?
1,000.
How much?
1,000.
I was the question asker, not because I am not in full support of the family link. Absolutely 100% the services that they provide. But I just wondered how far what we could give was going to prolong.
No, I feel like that's very unfair.
Well, I do, we have to ask those questions. It's not our money that we're right now, so, and I also looked over the grant list that you guys have put together and while it looks pretty impressive, I see a lot of them are earmarked for certain programs and not operational funds, so that was concerning to me, because if you guys had other revenues for that operating piece or not to cover your costs.
And it's random what they support, whether it's only the food bank, whether it's for the children, for the seniors, or
Right.
for operation, like they all just, and some of them change annually on what they're willing to.
Support.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the county? What's the county sounding like?
We're going on Monday, they're having another meeting, last time I've been here, I had gone to the one before. They're having another one of those meetings on Monday, we're taking some board and some of our clientele to kind of enforce more what the need is and why we're requesting that. I know they visited a little bit today and there is some available funding. I don't know what that'll look like for sure, but enough to like help us.
What are the family links hours? Just.
So I already cut Mondays, so right now we're operating on Tuesdays from noon to 5, because Tuesdays is when I do the Grand Junction run, so. That lets me get back from Grand Junction and hand out that rescue item, food sources. And then Thursday and Friday, we're open from 9 to 3. And Thursdays are, Paradox Pantry is also open, I think from 9 to 1.
Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays?
Yes, ma'am.
That was kind of one of my questions.
Dina and I are there.
Yeah.
I'm there Monday through Friday. Dina's there Monday through Thursday. She kind of helps cover when I'm gone. But basically, we're in and out 5 days, especially for like our utility assistance, any of that kind of stuff. We try to be like what Paul was saying. Especially if rates are going up. I can't imagine what our increase is gonna be with our Energy Outreach Colorado need. Yeah, I don't know, guys.
Would it behoove the towns to get with the county? I mean, if, hopefully, that goes through,
Mhm.
but. I mean, long term, maybe we need to all sit down and try to figure out how to make sure that you're sustainable, cause I think if we went in on a. Three-way partnership and make sure that Family Link stays
Operational.
operational, I think that would.
I would be so open to that.
I think we need to look into that.
We've kind of discussed even like with the PILT funds that just came in, like I think it was over 3 million. Like how much of that could come back to the West End, even if it's like per our population, if there was the capita that like a percentage of that comes back. We discussed if we need to pursue possibly becoming a special district like the cemeteries, or I don't know if it's ambulance here, like different counties have different districts, but if we need to pursue becoming one of those so that it's automatically in their budget, that they help us be here for our people. Yeah, especially with our seniors knowing, like what Paul was saying about going completely online. I know that's a challenge for a lot of our people because they don't do technology, they don't have Wi-Fi. And the cost going up alone, much less what they can, like their social security is not going up, their other benefits aren't going up, like.
Yeah.
It honestly scares me for our people, you guys. So, yeah.
About how many families do you feed? I mean, I don't even know if you really know that number, but sometimes I see the same people, which is good. Sometimes I see totally
We're
different
still
people.
signing up new people, especially because of the USDA cuts. With the SNAP and the WIC benefits, we're really like still seeing an increase on that end because of those changes. Some of our people that used to receive benefits, it has been cut down, like a family might get $30 a month now. So it doesn't pretty much matter who they are, where they work, and it's working families. It's not just our seniors or our veterans or our disabled. It's our working families that are struggling that we're getting. So I don't know the exact number. Dina was running some of those the other day just because we're starting our new fiscal year. So we were reevaluating all that, but I can get that to you.
I think that would be a good number to share it,
Okay.
that for the county commissioners too, to say, you
That's what we
guys,
were gonna.
yeah, realize that we're helping X number of families that wanna be in our area.
Right.
You know, they wanna be here and.
Well, this is,
Yeah.
how many, they're not gonna go somewhere else
Yeah.
just because of the go.
Well, they can't afford it, for one.
No,
No kidding.
no,
And who's gonna feed them that?
right.
Good.
Actually, that migration's not unusual, so. Quite frankly. I think we have to kick something in because I think it'll help the county too, so.
Yeah, for sure.
The question is how much, because I know the county's gonna look at it and say, well. People don't wanna contribute over there, then why do we need it? So. Question is how much? When, if. Well, it's willing.
Well, I think I'm agreeable to definitely put a number on it here. I know Jessica did some crunching, so I think we just have to come to an agreement what the board is gonna be able to do, so.
Well, I know you said there was possibly 4,000, is that actual a hard number that's available? or-
It's,
And that's for discretionary use on anything?
at the board, that's kind of like what we can squeeze for donations till. We start it right there.
That would be donations for anyone
If
anywhere.
there's another emergency that pops up, then.
Then we'd be done.
Well, I have no problem doubling that or Rita's, that's for sure.
Is
I'll
that,
second that.
is that typical, maybe not, this late in the year, are we getting a lot of requests for more donations, or is it? I mean,
It's kind of, it gets really random and sporadic this late in the year, before it was a lot more, kind of hoof and paw when they would be in a bind. You know, that's the only one that I can really think of,
Do you donate to like the, yeah, Pray to Lights, the Elfin Eve, do you guys have to donate anything to that? They don't.
we have last year, but I don't think we typically.
Leave you guys. Are you?
In the past, have these guys.
We're a club, Carla.
Which opens up discussion that, you know, for later, that I would like to have a window of requesting the donations at the beginning of the year, unless then it's a.
Sure.
Emergency, so,
Yeah.
but that can be dealt with later, so, yeah, I don't know that we have. Been I'm trying to think of like angel baskets and stuff, I don't think so, like,
Okay, that's kind of, yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah.
work on next year's budget too. I mean, let's just keep this in mind that we may need to set out some pot of money. You know,
Mhm.
for some of these things that she's mentioning, so that there is something there.
And for us to know that there's a specific request time, like just like how we know certain grants, when the cycles are for those,
Yeah.
like we kind of have our late fall and our early spring ones. That would be super nice to know, like.
We
how
haven't
can
had that, but
incorporate
it
that
would
in.
make it much easier for the office staff
Mhm.
too, so.
Yeah, that
So
would be
we
nice.
have chatted about that a few
Yeah.
times back and forth, and so maybe we
Yeah.
can get that resolved.
Mhm.
It'd be good.
but then to circle back, yes, that was like kind of what we have to work with until December 31st, 2026.
Well, I certainly would propose 2,000 at this point. See how things go.
Anyone else have any thoughts?
Seconded. Didn't you second already?
He didn't make a
Oh,
motion,
okay.
he was being smart,
was
you
just-
agreed. You know, it wasn't a real official motion.
Now it's official.
Well, he didn't really make a motion, he's making a suggestion, and you guys need to decide if you agree or not, and then we'll go for a motion. When we have a consensus here.
I agree, I think we should put in 2,000.
Is there anybody that has any thoughts of giving any more, but then I don't care what Natarita gave, I'm just thinking of what we can do, and the other the other entity that a lot of times asks for donations, we've usually helped them out quite a bit, and I'm looking at this as
helping people,
Mhm.
so I wouldn't be against myself donating a little more.
I don't disagree in the main, but since this is almost like an emergency thing for us, if we haven't, somebody else come in, it's got an issue for later in the year, if we have no money to give anymore. Because we can always give them more money later. So,
And there is a lot of grant and a lot of federal funding being cut, so. I'm just my opinion is that there could be another entity that is like, oh no, I'm like to say, oh, we have several.
I think letting the county know that the towns are kind of in on it together and wanna pursue something. As a partnership so that we can make sure that they're still going. So I think making that commitment with that check to Montrose County saying, hey, this is. We feel this is important and we feel that all three towns should be in on this. Together.
For
The
two
check.
towns.
Yeah,
Two towns.
two towns in the county, yeah.
All three.
All the towns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like that, I mean, I don't wanna hit everybody.
but it's
Asking for funds,
important.
and if it was already something that we knew and that we kind of could count
Plan
on, like
for,
it would
yeah.
simplify, instead of 3 applications, if we could do 1 application, like anything like that, that would simplify the whole process and then almost hopefully be a little more secure, would be.
Well, and we can
That would
have
be
some
nice.
measuring metrics with, with any of the funding, so I think it's important and I think that should.
A group and some
be
discussions, so
something
that
we should
should
do
be nice.
together.
So I'm hearing that everybody's kind of good with the 2,000 and a commitment to work with the other two jurisdictions together for next year. And then as Tim said, we may have more to give you here in another month or so. We're gonna kind of see, since we're kind of getting tapped out. If it doesn't get utilized for another emergency situation, then,
I understand that.
yeah.
Everybody has their hands out right now. I mean, I think that's why we see what we see with our grant request is because we're not the only nonprofit. We have several, like we get emails regularly of other ones that are either shutting down or cutting back what they're doing because of everything that's involved with it. So, yes.
So now I would entertain a motion to make that real.
Oh, real motion.
A real motion, instead of just already answered Mark there.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve $2,000 to the West End Family Link to help with their funding. Gotta figure out what was that, Tim?
yes, it can be used for operations.
Thank you.
Darla? Yes. Bradley?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes,
I vote yes, motion carried. Thank you for the
Thank you.
update.
You'll keep us informed how things are going.
Yeah, but that'd be good if you did, so then that way we kind of know. Yeah. All right, the next item, Jessica took off, we'll discuss further under staff. As far as code enforcement, and so we need to ratify the email vote. That was the letter of support for the Basin Clinic for the Rural Health Transformation Program application.
So that was voted on? Did we finish
No.
voting on that?
Email. We had a majority vote.
Okay.
I make a motion we ratify the email vote taken on letter of support for the clinic.
I'll second.
To send a letter, correct?
It was sent.
It was sent, okay.
No, there was a deadline on it as well.
And Matarita didn't send theirs.
They didn't? Uh-oh. There I have a motion and a second to ratify the email vote that was taken for letter of support for Basin Clinic for the Rural Health Transformation Program application. Darla?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Penny?
yes,
Amy?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carried. Okay, so under old board business. I'm just gonna. You may not wanna discuss these policies, or you may want to, but also under resolutions, there's resolutions for each one of these policies under there. Figured we could have discussion if there was further discussion. You guys can table the resolutions if you're not ready to pass them, but they're on there so you guys could see everything and go from there. The first one is the technology, social media, data retention and AUP policies. I didn't see any other markups on those, but if I missed them, you should let me know.
We haven't changed since the last time we looked at them, right?
No, I think
Okay.
they're the same. And if there's not any discussion on that, we'll just move across there for discussion on any of these others, and then when we get to the resolutions, you can decide if you want to adopt them or not. The next one was the governance framework, which I do think we have some notes on there. Let's see, Darla had put some, and I had one on one of them. I think it's, Exhibit A. I had put a note there, there's one section, it's 2.2. That says prior to a formal convening of a regular meeting, the board may assemble informally and review the evening's scheduled agenda. My personal comments on that is I don't think it's a good practice. I know when I first got on the board was doing that. They were meeting a half hour before the meeting. They were going over the agenda, they were chatting. It became the talk that it was the pre-meeting where the decisions were made. And then when they went into regular session, there was not the dialogue and debate that needed to happen in open session. So that's why I comment that I think that that should be removed.
I agree with that.
Agree with that.
And then Darla, you had some questions there. I'll let you ask those.
Find mine.
Okay, well,
There I am.
I can read your question here. It's my question.
Yeah, I just don't remember.
It was
Exactly.
regarding the special meetings and
Right.
scheduling special sessions. And Darla's question is, when a special meeting is requested, is there an established time frame within which all trustees may or are expected to respond with their availability to provide dates and times when they are available to attend? And it's not in there, and I don't know of an established personally, so we'll see what these guys all want.
I don't know one either. And I still don't know who.
Are you in the shared folder? If
I'm gonna resolute, like the resolution.
Yeah, I think we need some sort of time frame. I mean, we're town of trustee board members, we need to check our email.
Oh, and,
I think that it may be
Quickly.
in general too, because nobody checks their email regularly in response from.
Yeah,
or any of the things.
I think we should commit to that.
And maybe that's under the, let's see here,
yeah, because there's a job
rules and procedure manual, that would be the right locale for it. I think it needs to be more overarching than just the special meetings. I think it needs to be addressed for communications on every level, because there's a lot of times Jess sends out information that's requiring a reply or response that no one replies to. Or she may get one or two, that's not what
Yeah.
she's looking for. So if we're gonna add that language, I just think we think about how it covers. Yeah. Any of that. Of course.
Maybe this one needs some more work when we do the board strategies that we
Mhm.
canceled this evening.
Yeah, as we
Maybe
say-
this and the ethics and,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So I think we should hold that.
Yeah, I kind of was anticipating that we wouldn't do the governance framework resolution tonight.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want it to go without us talking about any possible updates that need to be added, and clearly feel free to put your comments and notes on there like Darla and I have. It just helps get to the questions quicker when we're having our work session, so everybody would take a look at those and make your notes. I think it'll help us move through it quickly.
So these, town board rules that are going on right now, was there nothing in place before?
Yes. And they are, let me see if I can find where those
Kind
are.
of just following.
Cause it wasn't the ethics book too,
It's
right?
it
Like
was
how that
combined.
kind of,
But it's
okay,
not specific, like,
Okay,
there's
so-
not specific directive, like. So, like, sometimes I just throw dates out there, cause I'm like, oh, I don't know what you guys got going on, so. This date looks far enough out, but this one looks too far out, and so then, and so.
This is much more defined, and there was some recommendations to pull the code of conduct and the rules, just two separate documents instead of having that all into one. All into one.
And
so this is the one blended one, or we
These
have
are
to,
all, these are all pulled apart.
okay,
So
okay.
A is the board rules of procedure and the manual. And let's see what B is. B is the code of conduct and ethics policy. C is the appendix. It's basically the reference to all the CRS in both of those documents, which I think that's like one of the best parts of that myself. And then the last one is there just an acknowledgement when new trustees, come on board. This is just saying that, yes, I got this information, I acknowledge that I received it, so.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Paula, but it's also important to know that our previous was not up to state statutes. There was some outdated language in there too. If we weren't.
It wasn't tying to
Yeah.
state statute, it was tying
So-
to commissions and other agencies that don't have any say or ruling over a statutory municipality, so. It was not correct.
Yeah, I'm not ready for this one yet, I wanna discuss that at the work session. Yeah,
And I think somewhere here, and I'll find it and drop it into that folder. Well, actually, I know where it's at, I'll just tell you. In the shared folder under the trustee handbooks. That's where the current. That's where the current code of ethics and conduct and policy and procedure manual
I
is.
printed it out,
Did you print it?
dude,
Okay,
this is me. Yeah,
so
I'm
that's,
learning,
and just, I think I shared this with you before, but just in case I didn't. What I did was took the current handbook as it is. And I took a couple, there was 2 or 3 other municipalities or counties that. Community builders had suggested that had very solid policy on these 2 things. And I just took like 3 different documents and blended them together and. To see what was in alignment and what wasn't, and that's where we find the things that are. Pointing to commissions on stuff that have no, no say so about what we do, and instead of it referring to the Colorado State statute as it should. So those are the things that's most concerning, but that is corrected, so.
okay.
Do those commissions exist here where we live?
I think there were state level commissions, I'd have to
Yeah.
go back and read what it was, but it just doesn't apply to, it doesn't apply, so. Okay, I'm gonna put that on table for our work session. And then the last one is the lodging tax advisory committee formation. And I think the only thing that you guys had kind of directed that needed to be done to that last time was. It was still referring to the resolution instead of the ordinance. And so I got the ordinance number from Jess, which is ordinance 2026-006, and that's been added in place of. Where it was referring to the resolution. And I think that there's some good guidelines on this too, as we were talking about, funding requests. That come into the town, whether it's nonprofits or, mostly nonprofits, that there's kind of a timeline, a review period in there of when it's open for application and. Kind of a time frame like other entities like the county use and stuff like that, so it could be, some of that language could be used again for other requests. Okay. Any changes or any recommendations, or are we good with that one?
Are you looking at the PDF on that one?
Pardon?
On the lodging tax one, the PDF, is that the final to look at?
Or for the ordinance?
The ordinance, that's what I'm looking at, ordinance.
We already have an ordinance, okay, so,
Yeah, and then looking at
that, thanks.
It's good for me to look at it from somebody else's point of view, because I get so used to looking at the folders, I'm just like, look, you know, so.
Are you guys ready to move forward from that, or?
I'm ready to get that one approved and okay.
Well, there's a resolution for that, so if there's not any other discussion, we'll just move on through the other items here, and then when we get to the resolution, you guys can decide if you want to move it after a table, so. So, there's a note on here. Oh, this is about our work session. For the next meeting, the August 26th at 5:30. There was a link there for some of the information that we compile for the plans and goals and such, and then we'll add the governance framework to that conversation too. And that's before another meeting, so we're gonna have an hour and a half. Does everybody feel like we can get that done?
I don't know, maybe. I have notes, of course, but yeah. I say we try it and go for it, and if
Okay,
not, then we
see how
might have
far-
to, yeah, see how far we go, yeah.
All right, so we'll do that next time. And the other one is the joint work session with the West End Public School Board of Directors. I think Jessica's been working on confirming a date and a time, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've left, went along, it's got back from vacation and school started today, so I figure Monday will be a great day to start back up. School's all
Start
starting.
counting. It's good, you know, we think it should be that, yeah. So land use and development code, and I think Jessica had a question for the board that she had sent out, am I correct?
Yeah, Gabe called yesterday, just kind of nudging, and you know, there's been a lot going on. So I forwarded that last conversation between he and I think you guys might have all been, I don't remember, but anyways, I forwarded that to kind of just put it back at the front of your minds so that we can revisit. It was more of a nudge, just so that we don't forget. I know that it's on the agenda, but we'll like, no updates, so just maybe we can, for the next couple weeks, decide what we wanna, he did mention that, I think I typed it in that email. Or I don't have my computer with me,
That's
that.
Good
What was gonna
idea.
be the things that he thought we should really focus on first, he knows that building code transfer, like coming up in the building code, whatever. Adopting that was a big one, and he said, so let's just step aside and maybe really need to focus on these to start with. And then, we'll figure out a path forward on the rest of the bigger items, but he felt like those were the ones that maybe we could just start talking and get the ball rolling again.
So-
Building code, are we talking about adopting the? Yeah,
If we had to way down the line, so he was saying, let's put that one to the side for now.
oh, he's
And-
thinking about putting that to the side.
Yeah, for now.
It's the priority.
No, that's not a priority. He knew that was a big bite.
We were looking for some outlines for infrastructure
And yes, and
guidelines and codes, you know, so things are. I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to Talmadge. That has his
Talmadge,
name,
Richmond.
yeah, and see if he has any feedback.
On the
He's been on,
infrastructure thing.
just on any of it, if he wants to help us on, he's. Gabe said that he's got a lot of contacts and he's got a lot of resources in the state that wanna help. Smaller municipalities, and so we can reach out to him and get some of these tackled. That's just kind of the update with Gabe.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't we supposed to have another work session? That's open to the public to go over more of these things, so
And
is that what we're with?
Once we kind of decide where we wanna go forward on some of
These
these
other
topics,
things,
then we
okay.
can schedule our public
So that's what.
meetings and public. Hearings.
So does the board have some direction on that for Jessica here, so she can get a hold of Gabe and we can continue to move this forward a bit?
Yeah, I think a public meeting, I think people.
But we have to have all the rest of the stuff before the public meeting.
Before the
though.
public meeting?
Yeah.
So you'd mention it and you know, like a topic to talk to him about, you'd mention like maybe. Tiny
Like the
homes.
RV living and the tiny homes and the different things, you know, and.
In general, I'm just saw some typos, you know, grammar stuff, but it's. Or on his red lines, we'll.
I guess what I'm confused, okay, I'm confused, because I see the red lines in there, and it seems like
Mhm.
he's already added some of the language. For us to talk to, with the public for open session from our meeting with him that we had. And we already had some other topics that we had given to him before we went into this contract and engaged him. So what is he needing back from us to start working on some of the language in these other areas that we chatted about?
I think that we left him, when we left our workshop, you guys wanted more time to discuss a few of the parameters of like the tiny homes and the,
Okay.
like the secondary dwelling or whatever it was called, you know, and like how small or how big.
And the short-term.
And the short-term rentals.
The short-term rental.
Yeah, there was some things that the
Really
board
well.
kind of wanted to consider a little bit more and maybe come to a clearer mutual understanding or.
I
I'll
got
have to go back and look at my notes. I've slept a few nights since this. But that was my takeaway. And then we could move forward in changing the language and then we could go forward and talk with the public and kind of get their
Okay.
feedback, because I think everybody was in agreement that we needed to definitely with the public.
absolutely. I just wanted to make sure that we have all of our information so that we can share that and they can give feedback based on what we're putting in front of them, so. Okay. So it seems like that is another work session that we need to schedule that's gonna be specific to these topics that need clarification and for the board to come to some direction for him to move forward, so. Let's, never can do this in a short period of time, I would say, I don't know what's piggybacked on any of our September meetings.
So far, I don't think we have anything piggyback on our September meeting. The first meeting in September is the Wednesday after Labor Day, so.
Okay.
That'll be hard, yeah. And we haven't scheduled.
When we start
Let's see
talking
with the
budget.
schools. And. Maybe,
Yeah, we're gonna have budget meetings, we have to give some direction on this, we're gonna have to actually, when we. Can you, on this particular topic, can you go back through your notes and bullet point some of the places? That need the clarification, so that when we come together, we can focus on making those decisions. We've got a lot. Coming up.
Yeah. Almost the end of the year.
And we need to make decisions and not keep kicking it down, because honestly, that's what we've done at other times on other topics. And then it gets to the point like where we are now, where we have a ton of topics we need to talk about, and it's overwhelming. Because we need more time to do it.
would it be a thought to think about, I know that nobody wants to attend another night, you know, but if we did an off night of. Instead of trying to put it in front of the regular meeting, if
So that
we
we
did an
can all
off
have
night, and
time.
we could say, okay, at 5:30, and we're only gonna go till like
Mhm.
7:30 or 8, it doesn't even have to be. And then we can be like, these are what we're gonna hammer out, and then it doesn't interfere with the, right, I know that everybody's just like so excited.
My only problem with September is, yeah. I. Gone to meetings on the 9th and again on the 23rd,
Okay.
so, yeah.
There's always a Friday, I know that that's gross, but.
So.
Are you gone that whole week or just, I mean, the whole duration of the week?
Yeah, the 8th and to the 11th
Mhm.
and the 22nd to the 25th.
What I was wondering is maybe, on the in-between week
Yeah.
there, you know?
Can you add those to the trustee calendar? So that like, I can see them when we're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I can't.
Can you zoom?
or you can,
Huh?
Can you zoom in? Are you able to zoom in while you're gone?
I might be able to on the 9th.
I kind of agree with Jessica, though, if we picked another date where we're not trying to be done right away to get to the regular meeting, that we could cover more ground. What about
I
the
think we
week
get
in
a lot more
between?
done.
I think the week in between Dartmouth's gonna be gone, you know, that week of the 14th, there's quite, I mean, I don't know what you guys' schedule looks like,
The
but
week of the 14th.
yeah, 14, 15, 16, 17.
You're
gone? Oh, of course you do.
That's a week I can make it.
My daughter's getting married.
Oh, well, I guess that's a good reason.
I guess you get to go to that.
Well, can
And-
you zoom in? No.
Can you zoom
Oh,
in?
God, great.
You can wear your tux.
Don't we? Yeah.
What about the 3rd of September? It's a Thursday.
The 3rd of September is when the letters are due, and it's the Thursday before interviews.
I'm good with that. I'm really flexible, so
I just think when we push it off another month to have some of these conversations, and then we're starting into budget conversation season, and this is just gonna get really a lot. What's yours look like?
I think the 3rd.
How about you guys, the 3rd of September? It's not your birthday, I know.
It's the day after, I may be gone. If I'm lucky, no, I'll probably be here.
You wanna do that, guys? And,
Yeah.
and then we'll do the land use
Not
code,
any, right?
pardon?
Evening thing, right?
Evening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know what the state's
Who's gonna
gonna
say
show.
everybody works?
I got a sanitary survey, so I don't know. I'm sure.
Oh, so what time?
Wanna do 5:30?
Yeah. September 3rd, 5:30, land use code was one of the conversations, and what was there another one?
Goals? Did we wanna?
Well, we're doing
Oh, we're gonna do
that,
that
we're doing
before.
that the end of August, so.
That's it.
But I guess if we don't get through all of that, we can know that we have another date coming up right after that, that we could finish up on that potentially, so. Sound agreeable? Okay.
Sure.
All right, and then, the Black Hills Energy lease renewal,
Which is basically the same as it's always been.
It is.
Well,
I think
we're
we talked
talking
about
about
the changes.
I asked her where we were at, and I totally forgot to look that email, so.
Okay, so you may
So,
have
I
some
think-
information.
Yeah. I don't think there were any changes, I think that was said.
But we were gonna make a change.
yeah, we were trying to squeeze more money out of Black Hills.
Darla, give us a percentage increase that you
Yeah,
suggested.
I think in the,
Oh, right.
in the, what's there now is like 2 cents.
Mhm.
And I've seen it between, I mean, average is between 2 and 5 cents. So it's been at 2 cents since, what was that, 2006?
Yes.
So with I mean, the guy was just right
Yeah.
here saying how it's been, I mean,
Up to 8%,
yeah,
we said.
of how
Yeah.
much, how expensive things are and everything is going up, so.
Yeah. So that needs to be added.
Yep.
It's gonna go get that. Okay. Okay, so we're busting down here, I'm trying to get us through this, because I know we have this executive session, and we wanna make sure we have time. So the resolutions, let's see, the first one is. Okay, this is the technology, yeah, okay. So thoughts on that? Is that something you guys wanna move on tonight, or is that something you need to table?
Let's move on.
I feel like, last
Yeah.
meeting, you went, Darla, she was gone over it too,
I
I
think
think it looks good.
that
So this is resolution 2026-007, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Nucla, Colorado, adopting comprehensive information technology, data governance and social media policies.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-007 as presented by Paul.
I'll second.
That made sense as she read it, rather.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-007 as previously read. Amy,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Darla,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes,
I vote yes, motion carried. And then the next one I think is, oh no, that's lodging tax, okay, so resolution 2026-0008. A resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Nucla, Colorado, formally adopting the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, the LTAC guidelines, application and reporting artifacts.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-008 as read by Paula.
I'll second.
The motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-008 as previously read. Penny,
Yes,
Tim?
Yeah.
Darla?
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
I vote yes, Motion carried. And then resolution 2026-009 is the one that we'll table, which has to do with the governance documents framework. Okay. Right. Let's see here. Okay, so we're to special districts, community stakeholders, reports and announcements, and Mustang Water Authority. Tim wants to talk about ditch shares.
So are we getting any use out of the rest of the charge? Because it seems the head gate on the west side of the waste seems to be dry almost all the time now. And if we're not using our shares and they're just going down the ditch, I'd like to see at least some of those transfer back up to the reservoir.
Okay.
Because we can definitely use some water.
So we went up, I took David up because he hadn't seen the headgate yet, but we went up and looked at the one on the west side yesterday and it's. Yeah, it's barely blowing any water. Dean.
He offered any suggestion like
No, they had a ditch board meeting last night. I was hoping that maybe he'd stop
any
by.
kind of possible diverter to raise the water a little bit, right?
No, he's been monitoring the measurable weirs, whatever, very closely, and so.
Well, yeah, that's weird. So that's.
I don't know much about it, I just know that they're so long, and. The east side has more than the west side, or vice versa. I think they're both low, period,
Yeah.
but. The raw system isn't. I mean, it's pretty spotty, I had some conversations with some people in the. Fox Street up this side of town that haven't had any water all year, even in the beginning. And so. There were conversations, but we're done with the raw in September. We opened up the raw system in March this year when they opened up first pond runs. When we started the billing, and so 6 months in town, in September soon, so. If you have water you want to take away.
We won't be able to take it till the next dish board meeting anyway.
I don't know. Ditch.
Well, then maybe
Yeah,
that's something that
stop by
can be
today,
done.
but,
We need a little flexibility considering our situations.
but I didn't get a chance to call Dana and he didn't swing by, so.
I can call him as far as. He'll probably, I mean, he's gonna defer back to the board. As far as and making any moves on irregular, but it's just. It hasn't passed. So.
The raw system is, I mean, there's so many people that aren't getting water,
It's just that we're wasting our shit.
and it's.
And
And I think,
quite frankly, as far as the cost of the move goes, I think we gotta ask Natarita if they're gonna pay for it, because. They need to add more water to the reservoir. We're gonna be using our shares and they should at least pay for the move.
I have a lot of people complaining that they're still watering their park and everything, and I just tell people that's my business.
There is a lot of really big green spaces, you know, the sheriff's office yard is really green, their park is really green, our park is burned up,
Mhm.
you know.
Which is also a concern of the citizens.
Mhm.
Which brings up the fact that I was approached about. About the town. Saying we don't have water. And. What is being done, and I have no idea about this, but I was asked about the leak at the top of the hill by Hilltop that's spilling out water. If that has not been fixed, and it's.
Don't leak at the top of the hill, but there's no leak.
Okay, I will find out more information.
I know they're talking about their blows a leak, it hasn't leaked in all summer, so
Okay, perfect.
we monitor it.
Okay, perfect.
I think there needs to be a solution. I mean, this was a rough year and I know my yard looks really, really bad and it's super depressing after. I've worked so hard on it all summer long. And so I think between the town and the ditch company figuring out a way to make it fair and to make it work for everybody, even if it does get low, I think that's worth exploring this winter.
That's why I was asking about diversion, because Dean. Dean has told me in the past, and we have done this, we put a partial dam below our head gate in the ditch. So that forces the water level up right at that location.
Mhm.
And the water still bypasses. Obviously, we only can have what goes across our flume at the proper setting,
Mhm.
according to what we're allowed by the ditch
Mhm.
company, the shares we have allocated. So that's still controlled. So if our weir, the west is still only allowing water we're approved or we have allocated to that to pass over the weir, then it shouldn't matter if there's a partial dam in the ditch as long as the water's still flowing by. So that was my question about any kind of a diversionary structure that the ditch company might allow us to put in the ditch.
I don't understand enough to speak on that, I will tell you, but I can get a phone call together with Dean and we can have that conversation tomorrow. If I get home.
What we did is we just dropped a couple of large
Okay.
rocks right down on the downstream side of the head gate, so it forces water into the head gate when the water gets lower.
Mhm.
We still have what we're allocated going across our flume.
Right.
So,
If you're available in the morning then I can orchestrate a conference call.
only before 9.
Yeah, I'm here at 7, sounds good.
7:05.
She'll be here whenever. We can do it by phone, you don't have to. But we don't have to do 7:05, but we can do 8:05. Or 9:35, but yeah, I'll coordinate with you.
I can't at 9 o'clock, I have it.
Okay.
If we can get
We'll
any more
coordinate.
water into that side and let some people actually have some water, I think it's super sad. I mean, it is. And there's still a lot of people that are not following any sort of conservation measures at all. They don't seem to care that their neighbors, whether they're next door or across the street, get any water. And Jessica and I
Big position
talked
in
yesterday or the day before, and the new water schedule thing. We're encouraging the school to water on Sunday when everybody else is taking a day off, and for them to water at night. And because they're a huge draw,
Yeah, yeah.
and so there needs to be some consideration so that everybody gets something, a little bit, so you water your trees if nothing else.
I think that it might be a good conversation too, that we have a schedule for watering even when we're not in drought. Because I know that like, people don't wanna hear that, and no, they don't wanna hear that, but. I spoke with Jessie Cooper for 30 minutes today, and she's lived in that house for all these years, and not once has she ever been able to use her well water, because.
Well, she starts at the ditch.
It
So
does, yeah,
that's-
it doesn't, and she's paid for it all these years, and I'm like, well, I don't know,
All of those people there, like when Lucas Johnson was on the board, we talked to him, we had many conversations on this board, he wanted to get a raw water tap. Okay, well, we'll sell you one, but your house basically is right on the
Yeah.
ditch. So we were trying to encourage him, he had an old cistern, run your water into the cistern and pump out of the cistern. That's the only way you're gonna have any pressure, you can't run a frog eye when it's a gravity fed
You
cistern.
have a tank and a setup.
Yeah, and she said that her hose isn't even drawing like to drip that she was doing a storage tank thing and she would put the hose in and then if the system pressured up or if there was some. She was able to fill up her tank and use it, but now she hasn't even been able to do that this year
Yeah.
at all. And so
There's some places that are a
Mhm.
challenge, and if it's like
Yeah,
it is this year with everything being low, they're not gonna get any water, I mean.
yeah, and so I don't know, like it's just maybe conversation, I don't know. Why.
We need to use our shares,
Mhm.
otherwise
And
somebody
yeah.
else is gonna use them, and the ditch company will tell you that too, we need to use them while we have them. Even if we tried to spread it out and do it every other day.
Yeah.
We need to be using our senior water rights
Yeah.
and.
And
we got
if you need them, I mean, I think that
Yeah,
that's pretty
The
important.
first thing to do is to try and get water over our head gates here. And the second thing is at least put them up in Mustang if we need to, rather than let them go to the ditch, because that reservoir is getting.
And there needs to be a solid plan that we're going to improve the infrastructure on the west side of the town instead of that can getting kicked down the road, because that's
I
been,
got kicked in the teeth on that by the Nature Conservancy, so they were fund us.
yeah, there needs to be an improvement on the head gate over here. It should have been done last winter, absolutely, when the winter was mild and there was no reason not to have got it taken care of, so.
I need help with orchestrating that conversation, but so, like, if, yeah. So that's, and then I can help her with that.
Well, I ask you, I'll just ask him feasibility of putting something in the ditch to raise the water level and see what he says.
See if it'll help.
I mean, he's the one that suggested up a Mustang, so.
Anything else from Mustang Water Authority?
That's pretty much it, other than obviously the water situation quality wise has improved drastically since the reservoir settled down. Other than that.
You saw what
I
caused
just
that.
wanna make a comment that I don't know how we deal with this, if we can encourage people, but this, like, there's pictures being posted on social media that don't have anything to do with the water quality or our domestic water.
Absolutely
And then there's no correction put on there when they figure out what the issue was, you know? The bathtub picture that looks
Oh, yeah.
sewer backup,
It was,
yeah, a sewer backup, but yeah, it's being blamed on the water quality of the town. But there's no correction on that once they figured out what the issue is, so.
Well, and that's because I've got Reagan calling me from the forum and she goes, well, what about that? And I go, that has nothing to do with the town. I didn't know it was a sewer backup, but I said, that's internal to that structure. It's either something with a hot water heater or it's something with their service line from the meter in. So there's a lot of things that will cause that, but that certainly isn't coming out of the
The faucet
distribution
level.
system.
Yeah, I don't know how we get on top of that, but man, some of this stuff is escalated out of
That
control.
one, the one that was posted on Facebook,
The
my
bathtub?
local here, is showing like a bathtub.
Yeah.
Said, well, I was out of town, I came back and this is what I came to. It had to be their pipes. I could not believe that that would just be all, non-filtered water.
No.
That's an old house.
There's some folks too that don't know where the water source that we have comes from. Actually had someone reading the stuff on social media, thought that our water came from Ridgeway Reservoir.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, yeah, we pump it through the Uncle Calgary. Oh, I mean,
Ridgeway doesn't even get their water out of Ridgeway Reservoir.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not their source water, so.
how big of a,
That'd be a hell of a pipe. What is a pipe? It'd be big.
Big of the earth, big of the house.
And maybe that needs to be, some of your AI generated,
Well, they're not AI generated.
well, you know what I mean.
Those are college.
Those, those things that you make,
Information.
yes.
Well, I promise.
And maybe just different ones like that. Hey, do you know where your water comes? Oh, yes, it's Salmon Hill River.
Yeah, I promised Reagan a more detailed article or letter to the editor that outlines some of those things,
Yeah.
because obviously there's a disconnect on what Mustang Water does versus the two towns do. What responsibilities are, what the
And we did
capabilities
put
are.
a little bit of that information on there was like a little information sheet with the last post where we did the raw water change that explained that our water comes from the CC ditch, and that it's gravity fed. I mean, it was short and sweet, but there was a few bullet points, so people had at least, oh, okay, and yeah. I mean, just ask, there's so many people that can explain the system if they have questions, and we're not getting them except for on Facebook after something's already blown up, so, yeah.
and you have, in my experience with, using, like, you have to be careful how much information, like, if you overwhelm people, then they only take bits and pieces and then they, it's. I don't wanna say that I don't wanna give the information, it's just, it's very delicate, like, if you give them too much information, then they're like, then they have a whole new can of worms that they're freaking out about.
I agree with that. I've
And,
seen that happen.
and that's why it's important to just come have a conversation, and we'll give you all the material, I mean, we had material in here that we can hand out if anybody wanted to come in and ask for it, it's just such a fine line, it's very delicate, and which,
We all know.
yeah, it's its own beast.
Well, it's just rather disturbing that I had only one person call me at Mustang about the water. I mean, the phone number's in the book. It's not hard to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
But there's this.
Your phone number was published on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
And you
How
still
do
just
you
got
find,
one.
how do you find out the test results? If, what they are? Can you do it monthly or do they test it every few months?
The what?
The
testing?
test, to know what, if
Gotcha.
it's drinkable.
Gotcha.
The coliform results are, well. I don't know the best way to get those, because obviously I don't do it last thing, so, they go to the state website, then if there's a problem, the state gets back to the town. And you do repeat sampling, just because you have a positive result on the test, doesn't mean there's actually something there, so you have to do repeat sampling to check. And it's still only an indicator, cold form and E. coli, so you then have to do further testing if that comes back positive, so. But anyway, to drill down on whether you got any kind of pathogen or not, something that's gonna actually hurt your health wise.
The people that asked for that information, I had an email that was sent to me and I actually included Tim on some of the reply just so that I didn't, you know. He knows the technical stuff that I don't know, but we immediately provided the testing results that the town had and the locations that the testing was at. And the town of Navarita had testing done as well during that time. And it's public information, but it's just not one of those things we're gonna put on Facebook, you know?
Right.
And it also has, you know, personal contact information and things like that on there. I mean, it's not top secret, but the other thing is how many people, if you put it out there, how many people, especially the social media crowd, is going to read and understand those tests, or are they gonna to some other far extremes of what the tests really were? So, I think we satisfied the questions that we received in email or that came into the town hall and asked, but we can't satisfy the questions that are on social media, so. Yeah,
And when we, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we test, we send it to a certified lab, like our person sends it to that lab. And then that lab reports to the state and us simultaneously. We don't send our results to the state, if that makes sense.
So you collect, do you collect the samples? You don't even collect?
Not for bacteriological.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have somebody come and collect
Our ORC.
and then
Town's
they just
ORC.
get what their samples
They have their
and
kit.
they can't do anything,
Mhm.
tamper
They
with
send it.
anything, they just send it right to them.
Yep.
So if it was tampered with or anything, the state would know.
The lab would know,
Yeah,
because they're the
yeah.
receiving party and there's a chain of custody and there's a whole process.
Okay.
And then when they run it, then those results are immediately dispersed to both the state
same
and
time.
us.
Okay.
Yes.
Sample has to be analyzed within 24 hours.
Yeah, and it has to be, it's a
Okay.
UPS.
It's that's
Or
and
driven.
the overseas for the town and for Mustang Water. Their license are on the line for all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's, and they've had tons of test training, you know, on how to do all of this, but. They don't, you don't just become, like Tim's a class A operator, right? So, yes, you don't just get that by saying, hey, I wanna be one of these.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
you know,
very
there's a lot of education and testing that, or, you know, training that goes with that, so. And I will say on Tim's behalf, because he won't say it himself, that during this whole process, when everything's blowing up and everybody's going out of control. The guy's practically living at the plant to keep us in compliant because the water is so bad. And we have one full-time employee and a
I'm
part-time.
gonna walk that back. We are gonna have a violation of Mustang Water for turbidity.
Way to go, Tim, what? Turbidity.
Well, it's funny is if you talk to people that have lived here for years and years and years and years, so don't worry about it, it happens all the time. I said, you know, he said, just don't worry about it, a few weeks from now, it'll be fine.
Well, it's
It's just, we've dealt with this over and over.
It was significantly worse this year by a lot. I mean, quite frankly, I used to live in Arvada, same thing every summer. And Arvada is no small town. It's
No, I know Arvada.
100,000 plus, so.
And some,
And will it happen again? Does it happen again in the spring, in the winter time? No?
Well, not that was the mudslides.
Well, we're supposed to get a whole bunch of rain the next week,
Our
just like we
water,
had before.
our
So.
water is though, I've noticed that it's staying it's still hanging that musky, kind of moldy taste. Longer and longer, it seems during the year these days, so I think we're gonna have to take a hard look at the reservoir, we really are.
Yeah, I swam in it the other day with some people and I came out smelling pretty bad. Right, right.
Please.
Oh my God, you're not allowed to do that. just so you know.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to swim in the river?
No, that was.
Yeah. I remember when Sam and all of us took the horses up there and swam. I didn't smell it then though, but man, I smelled the other day.
Gosh.
I think the issue is the taste. I think, you know, people see that tangible, you know, but people weren't drinking the water before. I think a lot of people get their bottled water, and I would be curious to know how many people are buying bottled water.
I bought 40 cases a week ago.
Okay, well, that doesn't talking about you.
That's enough to last.
Yeah. I think the taste of the water is an issue, and if there's something that we can do, I mean, even before this, to improve the taste of the water, like,
But you can't.
like what,
Treatment system other than have another treatment process, which I am not kidding, it'll double the cost. The only other thing you can do is we can take a look at the reservoir and see if it's time. And it may very well be that we actually have to do something with the reservoir to kill some of the nutrient loading that's down in the bottom, because we have built up. That reservoir hasn't been anything done with it for close to 20 years.
Well, they cleaned it out
So
once.
Oregon,
Yeah, it was back in
Organic.
2008.
Probably.
around there. So it builds up that constant decaying plant matter in there, and eventually it becomes its own self-serving nutrient process. You get high phosphorus and high nitrates.
Okay.
And then you start getting the bad actor algae blooming, which we have not had any in 4 years I've been at that reservoir. We don't have any cyanobacter or blue-green algae blooms, none. But eventually it can become, you can get eutrophication, as they call it, where it's, the reservoir basically gets out of control, the algae growth gets out of control. Pretty soon it goes, you use up all your oxygen and the reservoir is dead. So it's something we do need to look at,
okay,
and it's on the plan for next year, so.
What does that process look like? Is it draining the reservoir like they did in
No,
Paramount and then?
no, they're
or is it
actually,
chemical?
I don't, do we wanna go into this long?
It's just a quick.
yeah, just, I do, for sure, you know, I'm sorry, I know it's a late night, but.
Oxygenating
Yeah.
water all the way to
The
the bottom.
attorney's gonna be waiting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
And
that's, sorry,
taken care of, you can do some, what they call enzymatic dredging, which is you add enzymes deep, and that starts eating up the decayed matter at the bottom of the reservoir.
It's like a probiotic for the reservoir.
Yes, so there's some processes, a lot of people say, oh, well, you just mix it. Well, no, because if you start mixing that reservoir, you dredge up a lot of that
Yeah.
bottom stuff. Pretty soon you have the whole reservoir is that, so, I mean.
And it takes a long time to settle.
Well, what's the nasty black oogie brown stuff? You get on your feet and your legs
Mud.
yeah,
when you're getting
Mud.
out, that's mud. It don't smell like mud.
Yeah, and that's what's the bottom.
You're definitely
that's
swimming
the
in the-
bottom- That's the, is at the bottom of the drinking water reservoir, it is, it's down there.
Oh, ow.
So.
So it's just inject like an enzyme and reoxygenate, pretty
Yeah.
much. Okay,
And then, cause then you change the nature, to what's being produced as positive algae and phytoplankton and whatnot, so. Then you avoid the nasty parts that feed on the low oxygen.
okay.
Nutrients that are at the bottom, so. Yeah, and that's what came up, there's no doubt that that's what came up in the intake was stuff off the bottom.
Okay, I'm gonna move us along here because we do have the town's attorney gonna be waiting on us if he's not already, so. I don't think we have anybody here from the chamber or Dark Sky. Housing,
Meeting soon.
I think we have a meeting coming up in, I don't know what it is, but we haven't had one to report on, so maybe the next meeting. I don't think we have a report for Weston Economic Development. So we'll move on to the staff reports. Jessica, if you have anything you wanna highlight, go ahead and do so.
I do. So real quickly, and I don't want to get into a big discussion about it, in my manager's report, I just want to make a statement. And this is just for the public and the staff. As we all know, the water's been a hot topic. And we have been getting a lot of phone calls, and we have been getting a lot of visitors through the doors. And so I just want to remind, not you guys, but the public, that, a public reminder that any threat, whatever the size and if deemed a threat towards the town of Nucla staff will not be tolerated. These will be reported to the Montrose County Sheriff, the Board of Trustees, and the municipal judge. As a federally protected building and staff, all threats in any nature will be taken with the utmost caution, importance, and prosecuted. I encourage each citizen to stop by and have a conversation, to ask questions and stop fueling the mob mentality on Facebook because somebody is taking the brunt from the hostility. And not everything posted on Facebook is true or the whole truth. But I think that that speaks for itself, so that's the only thing on my manager I wanted to say on that. So rest of you can read
When she has.
for your leave.
Let's start with the manager's report. Does the board have any questions for Jessica? And if not,
I do on just like the code enforcement and animal,
yeah, if I haven't
yeah,
got there, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You say.
Public Works Department, I know you guys have seen the email that Jessica has, a candidate that she has done a first interview on and has a second interview set up.
And I think Brad was interested in sitting on that tomorrow, and then I think
Oh, what time was it?
5:30.
Oh, yes, then I can do that. I just wasn't sure.
How many people do you need?
No more than
Two usually.
two.
Or you
No more
can,
than
or
three.
it can be posted.
Yeah, or I can post
It
it.
needs to be posted.
Mhm.
Well, you can't.
But I can't
now we're
now,
past the
like,
24
Because
hour.
it's not, okay.
We're
So
now,
I
now we're
won't-
past the 24 hour.
Okay.
Well, then,
Well, you can take my spot. It's okay. Go ahead.
He's like,
can it be done Friday? Or then you're,
She's not here.
I can find out what the candidate if he can Friday.
frankly, I'd like to have some board members in spot.
Okay, do we wanna see if we can do Friday and?
That's fine. I mean, if everybody would like to do that, I would say, see if he can do it later so you can get it posted tomorrow. And then if he's not able to do it, I'd say Brad and Tim can interview him and report back to us and that'll be fine.
Okay.
After work.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's okay.
No family coming
All right, is that enough information to go forward? Okay. Let's see here. And then you guys saw the library director's report and do you have any questions? Cause Jessica does meet with her each week. It's a good job on the reading thing she's doing.
It's
Yeah, I think that's gonna grow. I think that was a good idea.
yeah, I wanna go with people furniture.
All right. And then, code enforcement and animal control, Amy?
Yeah, I've been reading through the report, his June reports were, I mean, he's definitely, detailed. I'd like to see us rework that. I'm really struggling with the fact that Mike Red cannot have a pig. I think that there are other lots in the town that have animals that are smaller lots, but they might be connected to a bigger lot, so that's what's being counted as their square footage allowance for an animal and what the point system is. I'd like to see that reworked. I'm just really struggling with.
He can come
That
and
was-
ask, he can come and ask the board for variance
Mhm.
and the board.
And-
Yeah, but I don't think he should have to ask
If
for
there's that,
permission.
so
Mike Red.
David's
And-
very by the book and very specific, and so if it's in the land use and development code for points. And then he goes onto the assessor's site and he measures, and that's how he's getting his, so if we wanna discuss that, like you're saying, if you want.
Yeah, I wanna
It needs to be-
rework that.
It
I'm
needs to be brought
struggling
up
with
into
that.
the land use, I think, that's my suggestion, sorry.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with that. I just think that, I think we need to be a little bit more flexible with that. I think we're picking things, we need to be focused on bigger things than that. I'm really struggling with a lot of the things that are being done. And I really hope that, you know,
He has a plan, and he does have a plan, and it ties back to Ruby's.
well, he doesn't need to be putting together furniture. I struggle with that.
He put our new chairs together.
I know. Yeah,
And I
I saw
appreciate
that. Yeah, I know.
Well, they don't
But-
have any public
but we don't
works, so
have
he's
public-
just trying to
yeah.
help each other out, I think, so,
Mhm, in the office.
yeah.
I'd like to see that animal thing reworked. And the
you-
junk,
you
and the
put
junk
junk-
enforcement, for that matter.
Mhm.
We all, you know, the people that live out of town have these huge junk piles, they call them Treasure Island. I mean, we all have one. So for us to pick and pick and pick and look over the fence and see what people have, I just really struggle with that being a focus. I think we need to either ease up on that. With some sort of percentage moratorium, or. I just really think that we can come up with some better solutions for the code enforcement for the junk. Um. I do have some ideas that I do think would work, and so I really want to explore those. But really, I struggle that Mike Red can't have a pig. He doesn't have any neighbors, Jamie's never home, it's just him. He was using it to butcher for his family.
And
And Carl had
And
an
I-
extra
and I'm
cow
not
or two,
saying-
I don't care
I'm
if
not
Carl has an
saying-
extra cow.
But why for now, while we do have these in effect, can they not come ask for variance right now until we can update the language?
That's the only thing you can do.
Well,
You can't
he doesn't
change
have a pig anyway, he got rid of it because we made him get rid
And
of it.
until we update the language, I can't ask David to do his job by the book. If the book,
changes.
Okay, well, I would just like to work on changing the book. So, yeah,
And-
yeah,
and
keep
then-
it like it
and
is
yes,
now,
and
but I
we
wanna
can-
work on that.
then we can
for
uphold
sure.
the code, that's our job, is to carry
Yes.
out the code.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
if you have suggestions that I would work something up that we can, the board can see and they can discuss.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not up for letting us just be willy-nilly, you know, I mean,
Well, I'm not
because it's
either.
not fair. The whole point of having this stuff is so that it's fair and equitable to everyone. And I've been sitting here long enough to know the problems that have come from this animal code thing and how many times it's been changed and how many you can have and you don't, and it's still abused all the time. Nobody follows it. That's why he has work to do, is because nobody's following that. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm very open to seeing some different changes and maybe there's a better way to do it, but I'm not thinking we just go, oh, yeah, you can have a pig, you can have a cow, you can do all this, and then that means everybody gets to do it. Whatever. it
I
is.
see 3 goats on 4th Street.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why do they get to have 3 goats and Mike can't have a pig? Just trying to-
Has it been turned in? Cause I don't know that I've got 3 goats.
So I guess I'd wanna see, in the meantime, the signed complaints. I mean, if
Yeah,
if
I
that's
think
what
he's
we're
been
basing
dropping them
everything off of
into
is complaint based.
The logs, into a file, and I thought I shared that with the board, but I'll make sure it's shared.
The complaints,
Mhm.
okay,
And also, like, if I don't know how to manage David in a direction of him to do his job if we can't go off the code and what's written. So
yeah.
if we take that away from me and him, he doesn't have anything to do,
He doesn't.
and it doesn't have a job, and I don't think that's the ultimate goal, because we do deal with a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
In the area,
Yeah.
so just keep that in mind, that for now, he's doing his job and it's based on the code, and we're just carrying the code out.
Yeah, which that's fine. I just think that there's better solutions that we're not so adversarial with the residents.
Mhm.
Where Mike can have a pig and these people down here can have goats. And we're not so stringent on that. I just.
So, and we talk to the judge about this a lot. We talk to him all the time about, we meet with Tom all the time. It's very thin line telling people what they can and cannot do with their personal property.
Yeah.
Very thin. And you can twist it, and you can move it to be public health and safety all you want in a lot of different areas, and so we do teeter with that a lot.
Yeah.
But if it's just black and white and you're doing it, we just can't turn it cheap. And so that's kind of like, it's not a perfect process for us, I know, but we are thoughtful in the way we're trying to maneuver some of the things, and so.
Pretty challenging,
Mhm.
especially because it was like.
Feedback is welcome, it's totally welcome, and please come ask for a variance, I mean, it's up to you guys.
If you know, yeah, that's what.
Well, if he wants one now, but I mean, I think if we're working on things like that to help the residents, then I think that'll be fine, but.
Like a 4-H animal and.
We've got lots of variants.
Yeah.
4-H animals.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
I know, I just don't think people should have to come and ask for variance every time. I think we should be a little bit more relaxed with.
I think that I agree with you that there could be some relaxation about some things, but I also think that there's a lot of, not taking into consideration their neighbors. We're not being extremely neighborly with one another. You know, we've had in front of us in this boardroom, people that are just out and out fighting neighbors with a common fence because somebody's dog's in their yard, somebody's chicken crossed the fence. I mean, there's
The
all
smell.
the
wafting
smell.
over.
Yeah, because
Because
somebody
they-
was supposed to have 2 pigs and they've got 12, you know, I mean, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of things that's come here, but. There's not a lot of, I think the word I was looking for is consideration of their neighbors. So that personal property piece that you just mentioned, I absolutely understand that, I agree. But there also needs to be some kindness and consideration and just being neighborly and not being offensive to everyone around you, you know, and not caring. So.
That's a hard one.
Sure.
Yeah,
It
because
is-
chickens are gonna
it's
do
all-
what chickens do and they're gonna peck
They're
it up and.
They can.
They
and
are.
Some people don't care and some
Yeah.
people do, and, I mean, we've. I think it
Recently,
was
we dealt-
earlier this year, we had a chicken
Complaint,
complaint,
we
you
had to
know.
go ask
Yeah.
them, please keep your chickens on your property, you know, as good, keep your chickens.
Yeah, yeah,
I
well, and the
mean, but we don't have
consideration
to
goes
go,
both ways, it's like, well, you live in the country, so I guess if the
Yeah.
chicken flies over the fence and eats your compost pile, I'm sorry.
It's a
but
very, yeah.
You live in the country.
You have a right to shoot it.
Yeah, I mean,
Penny,
You just.
really,
you know,
but I think that needs some work, and I just. Definitely wanna work on that and work on having a work session this winter on.
I think that's in land use.
it's.
That's not one of the
actually
ones that we're
ordinance-
discussing,
Ordinance, yeah, so.
but that's.
I don't mind having, I'm all for the work sessions, I wanna say this again, but let's come with. Get your stuff, your thoughts and bring it to us and say, this is my presentation, here's what I propose. Instead of us sitting around beating a sentence apart, you know what I'm saying, trying to add a word, change this or that, and all of us come to an agreement. Bring something in, let's, you know, start with something that you think would be workable. You know, and then come together and talk about it. So, because I see right now, we're struggling to make decisions on simple things like a letter of support. You know, and things like that. And so if we take that much time to decide what a letter of support is gonna look like for one of our agencies or entities around here. I can only imagine what ordinance changes are gonna look like. So I love that you have some ideas. I think. Put them out there and then let's get together and everybody can say, okay, I like this, like, you know, whatever. Yeah, I think we'll get through it quicker.
Does the public have any say on changing any of the ordinances or suggestions?
There's
Well,
always a
I was
comment.
gonna say,
It's
well,
called public comment, right there.
There
That
will be
podium.
on
Three minutes.
Well, you also can, the ordinance is published and you have all the opportunity you want to.
mhm.
To convert this here, he gave me a copy of all the ordinances and everything, so I do have a file
Good.
with those. But I was just curious how, if you wanted to have an addendum added to those ordinances or change how it goes about.
You can always put a request into the board to review something like that. If the board deems that it's worth reviewing for an addendum, then they'll take a look at that. So certainly.
Thank you.
All right, Amy, I didn't want to cut you short. Was that what you wanted to talk about with code enforcement and animal control, or was there anything else?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay,
No, awesome, thank you.
all right. So I'm gonna throw something at you and we're gonna go into executive session. But, a while back, I asked you guys to think about removing the fees from OHV and the business licenses. Is that something that we could add to that work session we planned in September to talk about, just because I'd like to have some feedback from you guys?
Absolutely.
And then I have another idea that's really not well thought out, but I'm gonna throw it out there, and if you think there's any, if there's anything good out of this, maybe it would be another item too. So at the last meeting, we had a business owner here that was talking about kind of a major improvement of extending sidewalks. And we've talked about, you know, possible business incentive plans and all kinds of things. So after our last meeting, it came to my mind that the funds that we're getting from the cell phone tower are not part of our budget at this point, because it's new. I wondered if the board would put any consideration into setting some of that money aside into a business incentive fund. And of course, it would have to have parameters and how that would be fair, so that all businesses could tap into that for certain projects and stuff, but, just wanna throw that out there. Because that is a pool of money that doesn't take away from anything that we've been using currently within our budget. It would be new funds. if it seems like it warrants further conversation, then I'd like to ask you guys to maybe put that in the work session for some conversation too. Mhm, yes. Thank you. And so, we will be going into executive session and I need someone to read that, make a motion for all of the executive sessions as listed there from the attorney. And once that is read, we will conclude the live stream, but we're going to do that first.
So I make a motion to go into executive session regarding a conference. Regarding the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, sale of real, personal, or other property interests related to the Vert Bridge cell tower lease pursuant to CRS 24-6-402. Conferences with town attorney through. Craniac for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to potential renegotiation or termination of Burke Bridge Cell Tower lease agreement pursuant to CRS 24-6-402. And a conference to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiation, and instructing negotiators related to the cell phone tower lease agreement between town and Vertical Bridge pursuant to CRS 24-6-4.
Good job.
Good all.
That's a long one.
Yeah,
Do I have a second?
you're next time, Brad.
I'll second.
Usually not that one. All right, I have a motion and a second to move into executive session. And I'm just gonna say for the mentioned and read by trustee Joseph. And I'll call for a vote. Amy,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.